Everyone, Gabe Velazquez here with you, TransportFreightSolutions.com on a Friday. This is 24th of July. Yeah, just lots of choppy trading. We had a sell-off yesterday in the NASDAQ in particular. We're sitting right on the lows here. I'm doing this about an hour before the close here. Let's get right into the charts again. Subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to be writing some interesting. I'm talking uh, keep in mind we're coming into next week with a slew of mega caps coming in, the Fed meeting, and then we go into that August seasonal, which has been somewhat negative here. The Nasdaq in particular is right on the lows from yesterday. Let's see if they can hold on to these by the end of the day. You've got Nvidia just chopping around. That, as I wrote in the piece this weekend, if you just take a look at Nvidia, it literally is, your driving force, if you will. It's really driving the bus right now. You can see as this morning you got Nvidia rallying up to the top end of the range. As it's falling, you can see the Nasdaq falling. So this becomes very interesting now. If even next week, if Nvidia can break out, I think the indexes go higher, particularly the Nasdaq. However, if you can't hold on to this range in Nvidia and you break below, let's say 200 a share on Nvidia, this will probably bring the Nasdaq down and probably the S&P. So keep an eye on Nvidia, along with obviously a lot of these stocks. Intel also. One of the things that's notable lately is these stocks that have reported really good earnings. They've been sold. Even Intel. If you looked at last night, Intel had really blowout earnings, and the stock is actually down. Same with Google. You can see the stock's actually down about 5-6%. So this is really notable. We'll see if that continues next week with Apple and Amazon, Meta, and so on and so forth. That'll be interesting next week. With respect to the S&P, not as selling, that's kind of flat and overall, kind of just range bound. I think we'd have to break 73.63, this pivot low, and then we probably head back down to 72.21. Also watching Bitcoin to see if it's bottoming. I've been making the case to my members that Bitcoin could hold here, maybe the 61K, but it will not rally because it's a risk on asset unless you get the Nasdaq to go higher. I think if the Nasdaq can go higher, then you'll probably get a breakout in Bitcoin. Does seem like it's trying to bottom out here, but it's going to need the market, i.e., the stock market, to go up. Interestingly, the VIX is just kind of sitting here, not a bunch going on. No fear yet. There's a word that maybe this weekend is going to be interesting in terms of the war. They're thinking about re-escalating, maybe, full-fledged attacks on, that again, you never know what that's going to set up some risk for this weekend, especially with oil, the way it's traded this week. As you know, oil had a massive rally. Yeah, I wrote about it again over the weekend. I said maybe 90. It went a little bit higher than that. Looks like we may pull back here. And, if there is further escalation over the weekend, I can see oil going right back up to 100. However, if they decide to pull out of this thing at some point, then obviously oil will fall right back down. So it's really a tricky situation. I would probably not chase oil here. And obviously with the weekend, there's going to be some kind of gap. That's been the case lately. If there is some escalation, I could see oil gapping another $5 over the weekend. We'll see. The rates are following the oil market pretty closely. This is also worth watching next week with the Fed meeting. If they go above 5, that could again be a challenge for the stock market. We're sitting right at a critical juncture here. This is the 10-year yields. You can see it's like 480, and then 5 would be the next key level on rates. We haven't seen those since back in 23. So it'll be interesting. You can see they've been climbing. More or less, if you take the charts and put them side by side, or do a correlation chart, you can see that oil and rates are trading in sync. So watch out for that. Dollar also rising as rates are coming up. So, dollar's on the brink of breaking out. That's pushing all the currencies lower, including the yen making a like 30-year low here. It looks like the yen is maybe going to break out to the upside here. Maybe, remember, if you look at this long-term chart, it looks like the yen, this is the dollar yen, this is the spot market on a monthly chart. Nobody actually looks at this. If this thing breaks out, this thing's probably going to 170 or eventually even 200. It's on the cusp of a major breaking. That'll be interesting to see. And gold will fall further if the dollar continues to rally. I know a lot of people looking at gold, but again, I've been talking to my members. I don't think gold can go higher on if it can do anything, but be tough for gold to rally in the face of a strong dollar. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So in any event, sign up for the newsletter, give me a thumbs up, put some commentary in the chat, and it'll for sure be an interesting weekend for Sunday Open with everything going on in the Middle East. And next week, we've got 4 of the mega caps reporting, 4 or 5, I can't remember. And then we got a Fed meeting. So lots of opportunities if you understand what you're doing. Okay. Have a great weekend. Take care.